Malignaggi got fired by Showtime for the racial comments and the claims of racism don't exist. Showtime, they removed Paulie Malignaggi from doing podcasts due to the comments he made on IFL TV. I mean, Paulie Malignaggi made so many wild claims and so many offensive claims, such as racism don't exist, it's an illusion, it's made up at this day and time, which is equivalent of saying the Holocaust is not real. It's equivalent of saying the people in the United States, the coincidentalist people that suffered for 400 years and they still suffering till this day, all of that, it's an illusion, according to Paulie Malignaggi. He said racism does not exist, right? So let me put things in perspective and put the timeline real quick, because see, at the end of the day, what you say is gonna come back and haunt you. See, a decaf, whatever he say, it will remain anonymous because it's a nobody, it's a troll. But a guy with a personality, a face, a figure, the worstest weapon in the world, like Dante always say, is a microphone and a camera. So Paulie Malignaggi, I was debating with the man actually on IG when it comes to police brutality and many different things. And he was trying to tell me, making wild claims that, you know, black people are violent, this and that, you know, so the decaf talk points, you know what I mean? So it's funny because I was debating with Paulie on IG and I was debating with somebody else in real life. And the next day or the next week, the George Floyd situations happened. Paulie Malignaggi went on IFL TV because IFL TV, the guy that was doing the interview with Paulie, he was trying to paint the narrative that Devin Haney is a racist, right? For the comments he made. But Paulie went on the show and he was like, oh, it's not racist what he said. It's disrespectful, but it's not racist because, of course, Oscar de la Hoya Hopkins said many things in the past similar to that. For example, Oscar de la Hoya even said black fighters can't take it to the gut or they don't got no heart or something like that. And then, ironically enough, he ended up getting knocked out by Hopkins to the body. So you got to be careful with what you say because Hopkins says, I will never lose to a white boy. Then he ended up losing to a white boy. Obviously, he lost to a white boy when he was 50 years old, Kovalev and Kalazgi, and he nearly beat Kalazgi. So that wasn't really much of an L, but they gave him the work. So Devin Haney, he have to be careful with what he says because they're going to hold you accountable. Nevertheless, Paulie said it wasn't offensive to him. It was disrespectful, right? But it's not racial. And then he said racism doesn't exist. That's when he effed up because Paulie pretty much got fired on his day off. So Paulie said racism don't exist. Then the next week or the next month later, George Floyd's situation happened and the police brutality continues. And Paulie comes out claiming that it's an illusion. He does not support George Floyd protesters and the movement because the decaf talk point, he says, oh, well, at the end of the day, or at least the night, these guys are criminals. They got to clean up their own community. These coincidentalist people, they killing each other. So why will I feel bad for them? And then he started talking about the own racism that he's receiving. Some BS. So if you want us to feel some sympathy for you, why you don't show sympathy for others? But he want to talk about the racism he received and the Italians and the racism they received back in the day. But he's shitting on people on the coincidentalist. When they suffered for 400 years and they still suffering till this day. And obviously he went on and made the comment of white fighters are the main dominant fighters in the game, the Europeans. And I already debunked that. But some points that I brought up, because like I said, it's just so easy to debunk. So let me just do it in a minute or two. It's easy work, right? You got Lomachenko. He got beat up by Salido last time I checked. We got Kovalev. He got beat up by Andre Ward last time I checked. You got Kalazgi. He stayed in the UK till Roy Jones, James Toney, Hopkins, till they got older, then came to the United States and nearly got beat by Hopkins. A lot of people felt like Hopkins won the fight when Hopkins was 45 years old. So, other than Malignaggi, who, like I said, he stayed hidden in the UK, he had no cojones to come to the United States, who is Paulie Malignaggi talking about? Because Gennady Golovkin got exposed. Deryachenko is a good fighter, but Daniel Jacob beat him. Andre Ward beat up every single European fighter on the Super 6. He washed him when he wasn't favored to win. So who is Paulie Malignaggi talking about? I will wait, and I'll probably be waiting forever because the answer will never come. Like I said, if you're talking about Triple G, Canelo, whoop that ass. If you're talking about Deryachenko, Daniel Jacob beat him. If you're talking about Lomachenko, Salido beat him. So you name it. These European fighters got beat, and the main dominant fighters in the game right now, as we speak, is Terrence Crawford, Errol Spence, and guys on the coincidental list. That's who's on top of the pound for pound list, as it have been for years. And I'm talking about from the Jack Johnson days to Joe Louis to, I mean, the list goes on and on. I mean, I don't even got to say nothing. Sugar Ray Robertson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sweet Pea Whitaker, Muhammad Ali, Frazier, George Foreman, Hagler, Hearn, Sugar Ray Leonard, Floyd Mayweather, Roy Jones, and fighters today, Errol Spence, Terrence Crawford. So who is Paulie Malignaggi talking about? Because the last time I checked, the only time a fighter on the hope list will beat a fighter on the coincidental list is when he cheat. Or take steroids. Or tamper with his glove like Tyson Fury did. So who is Paulie Malignaggi talking about? So, again, DCAS remain anonymous when they troll. But an expert or a personality, that's the biggest mistake you could ever make. And Paulie Malignaggi fell in that trap. And I know he regretted, but that's exactly what you get. Come out of the closet. And I'm glad Paulie Malignaggi came out of the closet. You know what I mean? Because it's so funny to me. Boxing is so racial. It's like, boxing is so racial. It's the most racial sport. From the Jack Johnson days, Jack Johnson knocked out Jeffrey after Jeffrey ducked him for 3 years. Then there were riots because Jack Johnson won. That's how racial it was. Then we had Joe Louis. Joe Louis was trained to be a soldier. That's why he went to World War II or World War I, whatever it is, right? He was trained to be a soldier. He was trained when you knock your opponent out, if he a fighter on the hope list, you do not smile. You act like you lost the fight. You do not celebrate. See, when Jack Johnson will celebrate, that's called being cocky. How you going to celebrate knocking out a fighter on the hope list? So they trained Joe Louis to be a soldier, to not smile, even through the biggest accomplishment of his career. At his happiest moments. Don't smile. Go back and see the footage, how Joe Louis never smiled. And racism exists to this day in a different fashion, in a different form. They more politically correct with it, right? And Paulie Malignaggi, he refused to apologize. That's why he got fired. That's how highly offensive it is. He won't even apologize. I mean, the audacity. He claimed there's no racism. It don't exist. It's just an illusion. And Lou DiBella, he came out during the George Floyd situation. So let me go ahead and read what Lou DiBella had to say. Shout out to Lou DiBella. He said, if you are tolerant of racism, if you don't feel disdain for racists, if you are not enraged by what happened to George Floyd and countless men and women before him, then you are a racist, period. There is no middle ground or gray area. You stand against racism or you are one of them. That's what Lou DiBella said verbatim. And Paulie Malignaggi want to talk about racism doesn't exist? This is the same guy that defended Tyson Fury for cheating. You could see why. Just like the WBC president. The win is too significant. We never had a fighter on the hope list be a fighter on the coincidental list in this way, in this fashion, in this form. This is one of the biggest wins of the century, according to him. He did not care if Tyson Fury is one of the cheaters of the century, one of the best cheaters of the century. He didn't care because he beat a fighter on the coincidental list. And like I said, that's the issue with Paulie Malignaggi. And they want to say they love Muhammad Ali. That's the funny one. They want to say Muhammad Ali is one of my favorite fighters. They will rock a Muhammad Ali shirt. They will praise Muhammad Ali. But you will hear them talk, and they will repeat, not a decaf, a recaf. Well, we already know what the R word stand for. They will repeat a recaf talk points. And you will look at them like, hold on, you support Muhammad Ali. But Muhammad Ali, what he stood up for and what he fought for and what he gave up his life for and did not sell his soul for, is he fought for his people that's still suffering till this day. But you claim you respect Muhammad Ali. However, you only love him when he's dead because he's no longer a threat. Because see, Muhammad Ali, he was hated more than Deontay Wilder was hated, more than Floyd Mayweather was hated, more than any fighter on the coincidental list was hated, because he was black, he was handsome, he was pretty, and he was a Muslim. And he fought for his people. You cannot shut him up. He spoke the truth. So that's why they hated Muhammad Ali, but they love him when he's dead. Just like the WBC, he want to pay homage to Jack Johnson, but he want to shit on Deontay Wilder while he's alive. But he praises Jack Johnson when he's dead and condones a cheater like Tyson Fury, a Margarito, Jimenez, and Canelo Alvarez. All these fighters cheated, and that's a fact. And the WBC backed them up. Every single one of them claiming they're innocent. So with that being stated, I'm going to go ahead and pick up some calls. And Paulie want to defend that, my man. Hey, I made an hour-long video. You could check it out. It's called Paulie Malignaggi Ether when it comes to the glove game.
You, man. Don't worry
Appreciate it, my man. Appreciate it.
Do.
And I ethered the shit out of Paulie because I had a debate with him on Instagram and shit. He didn't want to, he didn't have the cojones to come on Split Decision and debate me. So I had to give him the work on some Loaded Lux work on my channel, on my platform. And I broke it down in an hour long, exposing everything Paulie had to say with logic and facts and evidence and proof, right? And all he had to say, well, oh, Joey Spencer, I don't know why he said that. I'm gonna have to talk to him. He said he gonna talk to Joey Spencer and put him on the side and be like, hey, Joey Spencer, you know what I'm saying? Why you had to come out and say the truth? Why you didn't play by the code? And so the first racist was the devil. The devil was the first racist because it was racist toward Adam. Any bad trait is the devil trait. Racism, hating, envy, killing each other. Whatever, you name it. Every good trait. Split Decision episode 47 is over with. Subscribe below if you're trying to get smarter by the minute. If you're trying to get dumber by the second, don't and listen to these decafs. The dumb casual ass fans / old media that don't know ish about boxing. Word to Roger Mayweather, may he rest in peace, inshallah. Old media is the old wave. New media is the new wave. Is out with the old, in with the new. We, the new mainstream media. We make things happen. We control the narrative. Paulie Malignaggi got fired. And then Tyson Fury next gonna get busted cheating for tampering with his glove. All thanks to new media, because we are doing our job. We're not being emotionally attached to these fighters that cheat. We call a spade a spade. We give every fighter a fair shake. We being objective. So with that being stated, if you disagree, all you got to do is call in. Quit treating Akhi like the most feared on Split Decision when it comes to debating. These decafs treat Akhi like Mike Tyson. I got him shook. They scared to look every time Akhi's on TV. So with that being stated, this is a challenge to all the decafs, to all the decafs trolls, to all the YouTube trolls, the YouTube coons, you name it. If you have cojones, call in. I will end your trolling career. A lot of YouTube members stay mentioning my name in vain. They got nothing to talk about but Akhi. However, they don't got the cojones to call in on my own platform. Set up an appointment, set up a date. You got my number, so save it. Like Terrence Crawford told Errol Spence. So with that being stated, I appreciate every single one of my Akhis. Obviously, all of my Akhis know we don't debate boxing. That's for the decafs. I knock them out with ease. Easy work. We talk boxing. Because when the truth is spoken, the other side is nothing but a lie. 3 things that could never ever be hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. They will eventually come out. It's just destiny. So Paulie Malignaggi got fired. And there's more great news to come because Deontay Wilder will come through and drop that bomb squat on the mic. So, like I said, anybody can get it on split decision. So, call in.
You better
So don't duck me, son. Grow the cojones and call in. Quit eating that contaminated meat, that wild boar that doesn't allow your cojones to grow. Next show, I'm going to have more time slots. And I also have another show called Boxing Hood. Akhi Boxing Hood. It's going to be hosted every Wednesday with my own Akhi. I want all y'all to call in. I'm going to have more time slots. So with that being stated, I'm about to hit 30K. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate every single one of my Akhis. I appreciate everybody in the super chats. Shout out to OG Swag, RLM, and everybody in the comment section. OK Gusto, OG, Orlando, and everybody in the chat. T-Tone, you already know. Google that shit. Every time me knocking you out, you know what time it is, T-Tone. I done gave you 100 rematches and you get knocked out every single time. Please come up with something new this time. Quit repeating yourself. I lose my brain cells debating with you decafs. I got a higher IQ. So if you all ever dream of debating Akhi and beating Akhi on split decision and putting the blemish on Akhi record, you better call in and apologize on split decision. Because like I said, if I had a lower IQ, I could have enjoyed y'all conversation. So I appreciate it, and let me go ahead and take you all out.
Hold it, you're not that pretty. I'm a bad man. Wait. I shook up the world. I shook up the world. I shook up the world.
I bear witness, there's only one God, Allah, and Muhammad is his final messenger. That's what I said, Larry, on the bungle fight. Thanking you.
They call me the problem, but you could call me the can man, cause anybody can get it. Africans, Americans, Dominicans, Mexicans, anybody can get it.